If you're not confident or if you're feeling a little bit off, you can again go back and you know what to do to figure it out. So it's kind of integrating those practices into your everyday life as a mom so that you can continue to practice it and know that it's a practice and that you're a work in progress, and that there's no room for perfection in motherhood, because you're only going to drive yourself crazy. And you're also doing, you're doing your kids a disservice, because they learn through watching you and through, your modeling your behaviors. Learn so much from that, and they need to learn that it's okay to make mistakes. Mistakes is where the growth happens. Mistakes is where the learning happens. So I think, normalizing that for yourself first is really important. And then back to the three-part method. So we, identify, integrate, and then ignite is really just kind of firing it up, turning turning it up, reconnecting to like what are your passions, making time for yourself a little bit more. And again, knowing that you're a whole person and that motherhood is a very important piece to that. But in my opinion, in order to do that well, you need to do the other things well, because if you have, if you're thinking of like a circle or something, and that there's a piece that's broken, then that loop is disconnected and it's not going to, like a wheel, it's not going to roll well.
No, I love that three-part method: identify, integrate, ignite. And I love the ignite because it gives you permission to do motherhood, but also do you. You can do motherhood better. I think a lot of times we need permission to live out loud and live authentically. So this is your permission slip.
Yes, absolutely. And it's permission slip that, that you can do you. And by being you, you're still being a mother. I think that so often, there's this duality of like, okay, well, it's my life before kids, and then now my life as a mother. And I think seeing yourself as a whole person of who you are, that motherhood is a piece of it, but it's not this piece that's on display for half of the day. It becomes really much a part of you. And again, back to that integration is
Mhm.
integrating that role in your life. But again, you don't want to lose yourself entirely to that. And I don't think that you need to.
Yeah, it's true, like true integration. And I
Yes.
think that's the challenge, right? Because we're taught, we have all of these messages about how it's supposed to look and how we're supposed to feel and X, Y, and Z. And a lot of times what we see is that we fall into that. And then after the 18 years of very intensive child rearing, you're left trying to pick up the pieces of, okay, like who am I now? Because
Yeah.
I didn't properly integrate all of that into my life. So we talked about integration, but I want to take a step back and really kind of understand what are some of the things that you wish you'd known before motherhood or pregnancy? Because I feel like, you hear, and I hear from so many friends, oh my gosh, I didn't know my body would be like this or this XYZ would happen. And I feel like there are so many things that we don't talk about that come as a surprise, but they don't have to.
Oh, this is such a good question. I feel like I could maybe go off on this for hours, but I think we need to talk about it so that it's not just the like, oh, you wait and see thing, which I feel like is kind of like that jab that you hear sometimes. And it's like, no, I don't want to just wait and see. Like, give me an idea of what to expect, but not like it's going to be this terrible burden. And I feel like there's like these two visions of motherhood that we see portrayed. And I think that, neither of them is true in on its own. Is that, that perfect motherhood when you see these images of everything looks great and their kids are always doing these wonderful activities and there's never any screen time. And then there's these other, the other end of it, which is like having kids is terrible and you're going to need to have a drink in your hand 24/7. It's the only way to survive it. And I think like, no, it doesn't have to be either one. So just, know that going in that, there are going to be days where you're maybe more one way or more the other way, and that is fine, but that you don't need to live in either extreme.